If you bored, then stop complaining. Tap into Slightlee Daily. Pods and blogs and playlists. Everyday entertainment. Slightly to the daily. Slight to the lead to the. If you bored, then stop complaining. Tap into Slightlee Daily. Pods and blogs and playlists. Everyday entertainment. Slightly to the daily. Slight to the lead to the daily.
Welcome back to another virtual episode of the Slightly Daily podcast. You made it back. Congratulations. This is episode number 69. Yeah, okay, everybody. Go ahead and comment. LOL. I know. Grow up. This is episode 69. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you can find podcasts. Slightlee Daily. Yeah. So this is an interesting podcast I have here. I have Ruben, right? That's your name? Okay.
Yeah.
So basically what we're doing is we're basically meeting each other for the first time on camera. So Ruben knows my friend Nathan, who lives in California, and I sent Nathan back with some information. I was like, dude, find some people who want to do the virtual podcast with me, man, because it's hard for me to find guests. And Ruben came to me and said, hey, man, I'm trying to do this thing. And I was like, all right, let's do it. We've never met each other before, but like, let's do this thing. So Ruben, please, man, give me just, who are you beyond Ruben? You live in California. That's about all I know, man. So just tell me how long you've lived there, Yeah, man, just go ahead, man. I'm going to go ahead and give you the floor. Introduce yourself, please.
First of all, glad to come at exactly the 69th episode. I feel like it's very fitting. I bring out the most immature energy. I'm glad that I can facilitate that as much as possible.
Wonderful.
I was born in Cali. I lived in SF for a while with my mom and my dad.
Okay.
Just pretty much been living around here, usually around like Richmond. So, I rep those parts. I'm 19, man. I'm still
19?
learning how to be a functional human adult.
Yeah.
But other than that, I feel like you caught me at like an interesting part where I'm like mature now.
Okay.
So there's not like a whole lot I can tell you about me. I'm trying to be your average typical American man. That's the goal.
So finished high school last year, a year out, right?
Damn near.
Okay. So working
hard, trying to attain that bread, seeing as how I thought it'd be a whole lot easier. I'm gonna be honest with you. Money is difficult. It is not as easy to get around as I thought. I used to like give away like 20s and 30s and 40s as if it were nothing.
Well,
now I'm looking back, I'm like, I'm so dumb.
Well, look, man. So you guys over there on the West Coast, y'all's wages are way higher than us over here in Tennessee. So, and in the grand scheme of things, the money is all the same. It's the U.S. dollar,
Yep.
But you guys, if you look at it from just like a surface level, you guys there's more money over there on that side. You know what I'm saying? Y'all's economy is bigger. So I can definitely see kind of how maybe you were more giving at a younger age, because maybe you didn't exactly know what the value of money is, and we all do. As a child, as growing up, you kind of like, oh well, my mom gave me $20. I'm about to just spend it all today. Whenever you really could, you could have been saving that, and like your little allowance or whatever you got, you could have saved up in theory to buy like a car when you turn 16, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
I mean, like I used to save, I used to, when like my first, and that's like a struggle, because I remember I grew up poor, and that's like a big deal with me, is that I would never ask for anything from my parents, because I was like, I get that they're struggling, so I'd never ask for anything. And growing up, I had the same mentality of like, I'm not gonna try and like spend on this because I know we don't need it right now. But I remember when they gave me like $20 in that place, and with like the whole Cali is expensive. My girl's from Texas, and she tells me, it's like, man, gas is expensive as hell here. And I remember like $20 honestly would buy you a meal or like a snack. Like it's very versatile because everything is about the same price in the sense that it's expensive for that case. So I'm like, bro, $20 is really just like a little thing in comparison of what you can buy around here. So I'm like, if I have it and you need it, you got it. Like that was my whole mentality as a kid. I didn't really understand money, because I'm like, bro, it's so silly in concept of like, why is everybody killing each other for this? Absolutely. And growing up, I'm like, oh, I get that you need it. It's important. I still feel like I don't value money as much as I should. But I think people who take the money grind like a little too seriously also should take a step back and like understands like, bro, this is a piece of cotton and paper that has
Mm-hmm.
been given value by an outside source. So like for
Mm-hmm.
real though, money is not all that. She a bit, but she ain't all that.
So do you have siblings?
I have a little brother.
Little
And
brother.
yeah, he's
Okay.
fuck, I always forget. I think he's
Couple
13.
years. Okay. Middle school-ish area.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's starting to like grow a little mustache, and I'm like,
Oh,
okay, you getting
okay.
older. Yeah, he's
Heck
a
yeah,
little
man.
dweeb though.
So, so you've born and raised in California.
Hmm.
Have you been to many states outside of California?
Funnily enough, I have not traveled in state, but
Mm,
I used to travel a lot outside of the country. I'd visit Mexico,
mm.
Ecuador. I remember I went to the Caribbean once for a family trip. I apparently as a baby I went to Europe, to
Oh,
Germany because I got family there. I don't remember that, man. I was like a little
yeah.
kid, but I'd like to go visit my family in Germany because
German.
they're tight.
Hmm. Germany, man. It's crazy. All right. I kind of have like when it comes to school, I was a English and history guy. Science
Mm.
and math to me was I couldn't do it. So geography and like I don't know, I can almost name countries like in a map. It's so weird. I'm a nerd when it comes to
That's a
that type of
gift, but that's a gift though.
just about. I mean, geography to me, but like whenever you think about Europe, bro, all right, we think about like Germany and Spain, like the big countries in Western Europe, like the
Hmm.
UK, but like dude, once you get to the eastern part of Europe, dude, there's so many tiny little countries and stuff.
Yeah,
There's a lot going on there. Like
Europe is huge. It's a
it
big
is.
continent.
Mm-hmm.
But
And part of
there's like
Russia.
so many like provinces, little like cities and stuff like that. It's beautiful
Yeah.
though. It's beautiful. I've
Yeah.
seen pictures. I definitely like to hit up Europe, go on
Yeah.
a little tour.
Yeah, so I'm kind of ashamed to say this, but I have never even been on a plane before.
You know what? Shoot, I can't promise that, but I get it. Like, I think my girl's been hasn't traveled a lot, but I flew out there, so we drove up here. But I definitely want to get her on her plane. She has to get a passport,
Oh
and
man.
then I want to fly her out. See the country. But I remember I love flying. I freaking adore flying. Just like the feeling of
Yeah.
going up. I'm like, bro, science has accumulated to such a point where I can
Yeah.
get on a heavy ass little metal
A
bird
tube, a
and it
tube.
just goes so fast that
Yeah.
it decides it's able to fly now. It's just
Yeah.
so fast. It's like, bro, I can fly now.
Yeah. No, gravity doesn't exist anymore.
It doesn't pertain to me, bro.
Yeah.
I'm flying now. I don't care about that.
So, Ruben, 19 years old,
Mhm.
California native. So in the DM, I didn't want to just hop into it completely dry, you know. I was just
Uh-huh,
like,
uh-huh.
tell me a little bit about yourself. So you said physics, something you
I
were
like
interested in.
physics.
So
It's popping up in the world of physics.
so I went to a magnet school in high school, and I had to
Explain
take
magnet to me. Like, I don't even know what
magnets.
that is.
Oh, so magnet school would be, I don't want to say gifted, but like not like a public school,
Uh-huh.
but not a private school. It's like like you gotta have good grades to stay in the school. So
Hmm.
that's where I went for high school. And if you look it up, Murfreesboro Central Magnet, where I went to school, is number 3 or number 8 in the country in high school for like
That's
10.
that's a drop from 3 to 8, my guy.
Well, in the country though, in the
No, I
country,
mean no. Hey, top
yeah,
10 percentile ain't nothing to
top 10,
cough at,
top
but
10.
top 3 to 8,
No,
it's
like
like it's she good, but like
yeah,
humble,
yeah,
but still
yeah,
like, hey,
yeah.
I
You're
I ain't
right.
nothing to laugh at. Now that's some
so
smart stuff right there. I always put respect on people who have like big
so
brains.
But yeah, I went to the magnet school, long
Hmm.
story short, and I had to take some physics classes. And dude, it's crazy how it's it's a blend of math and science together. You know? It's all like equations and stuff. I just remember it didn't click for me, obviously. Like I said, I'm not a big math and science guy. It didn't click for me, but it's everything is like, oh well, Jimmy throws a ball and you gotta like draw. It's like you literally have to draw the stick figure and like draw Jimmy throwing the ball and how far did it go, that type of stuff. So what in physics like intrigued you, or when did you start to take a liking to physics?
See, my thing, and this is where a lot of people go like, bro, physics, that's like a lot. And I'm like, I get that it's a lot, but my thing is I always loved to think. Like as a kid, I fucking love thinking. And I still do. I still love thinking. My ideal job, the way that I described is if they put me in a box and all I did was sit there and think, and I didn't have to explain to anybody what I was thinking. I didn't have to write a report. I would just sit in a box and think, and then I go home and they paid me for that. I would love that job. So at first I wanted to do philosophy, and I'm like,
Mm,
bro, there's no money in philosophy,
right.
because that's an old way of thinking. That's like the Greeks. And then I felt like the next thing was physics, and my thing is, and this is the mouthful, theoretical quantum abstract physics
Mm,
is the field that I adore, because
okay.
that's the bigger questions. Those are the questions that are like, what are black holes? Can we
Yeah.
go through them? What is reality, and how can we quantify that into like tangible terms that you could use in everyday. So I
Yeah.
love that field of like questioning everything. And the way I describe to people, because they're like, okay, well, what is that? Is essentially you're asking questions with tools that you don't even know yet. You're basically figuring something out with tools you don't even have yet. And I love that. I love that puzzle. I've loved puzzles all the time.
Mm,
Um, and so I'm always talking about like something with like, bro, like we're all in a simulation, or what if ghosts were real, or what if we were all in a dream, or some stuff like that.
yeah.
Those are the kind of like sci-fi questions that can be plausibly answered in the realm of physics. And
With
as a kid, I
science.
loved that.
Hmm.
I freaking loved science. I remember I for my I think it was high school, then high school, then didn't do that anymore. Middle school, my first year, the science fair, I created a flying car using magnets. And I was so hyped up for that because
Yeah.
all elementary school, they're like, Ruben, that's not a project. Ruben, that's not a project. That's an experiment. I'm like, man, get your head. It's a
Yeah.
flying car. You're telling me not to make that?
Yeah.
So I've always loved science, man. It's just always held a special place in my heart. English, that's the thing I could not get behind. I did English over and over again throughout
Mm,
school, man. I just can't. That's why I didn't want, like when I said I want to be in a box and not explain anything. I can't get what's in my head out properly.
mm.
Like there's like a ton of things that I want to say. I garble it up in the way that I produce it to other people. But it's like, bro, I swear I'm smart. I'm just too dumb to get it out.
Well, sometimes, man, it's hard to express yourself, man, and that's kind of where people like you, man, they might express themselves through a painting or music or something artistic. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? I feel like I mean, insert any Mozart, anybody. You know what I'm saying? Mozart was deaf, I'm pretty sure. I don't even think he could speak, you know?
Yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
he literally was like, okay, I have all these crazy thoughts. All that I know is these keys, and like I can just feel the vibrations in my ears,
Yup.
and he created these works of, look at us, bro. We're in 2020, and Mozart just crossed my mind. That was 600 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Another thing that that helped with physics is it helped me in my worldview. Like a lot of the way that I see things is through science, and so I'm very logical, which is ironic. And again, bro, another thing that you know about me, I'm always talking about my girlfriend. That's just
And that's
she
great.
is very emotional. So when it
Mm,
comes to like understanding the world, I'm glad I have a logical aspect, and if I need an emotional aspect, I got her. Um, but personality wise, I tend to use logic a lot to understand things. And so when it comes to like understanding like Mozart and the way that he produces things,
mm.
it goes less to the way that he communicates, and to the base of the question is, why is he communicating? Like, you
Why?
just said
Yeah.
we're talking about some dude who's been like dead for years,
Yeah.
but that's like the inherent need for humans to want to be immortal. You want to be memorized. I always say the cruelest joke any other entity could have ever done to the humans, the most ironic one, is create finite beings that want to be infinite. And I feel
Right.
like that's such a sick, funny. I'll give it to you, man. Whoever created the universe, I'll give you props where it's at. It's the funniest thing, bro. We want to be infinite. We want to be
Yeah.
remembered through the eons, and we die at like 100 years old.
Yeah.
That's just so funny.
If we're lucky, man. I mean, even even in ancient texts, Bible, whatever, there was people who lived for a couple hundred years, but that's still nothing.
Yup.
Like there was people in the Bible who lived 800-900 years, but that's a blip in the grand scheme of 5 billion years or however long Earth has been here. That's
Hmm.
nothing. That is nothing. It's That's very interesting. It's interesting how physics can tie into your like everyday thought process, man. What are some like so what all right, what was the type of physics that you said you were interested in?
theoretical quantum abstract physics. And keep in mind,
Okay.
I feel like I pulled that out of my ass because I don't really remember
I,
researching that
I mean,
field, but it sounds like something.
so what
It
are
could be.
so what are some things? What are some like theories inside of that realm that really interested you, or like what are some things that inside of that study that you were just kind of like, I want to learn more about that, or every time I see a YouTube video about that, I click on it?
I think that I the most 100% answer for what got me into that field is teleportation. And that's like such a
Teleportation.
harebrained idea of like what could it be. Teleportation got me into it. Just like the concept of like, bro, if we figured out teleportation, so much shit could be better in our world. And
Tra-
I just really like the concept that, you know, with the answers of physics, we could possibly come to understand how to actualize teleportation. But not probably not in our lifetimes. But it's there.
yeah.
Like the questions are there, and you know, it's just a matter of like, yo, let's get this shit started. Let's start getting our smart big brain dudes to come work on it. And I wanted to be a part of that. Like as a kid, I grew up and was like, you know what, I want to dedicate my life to figuring out physics, and how to teleport. Um, which sounds crazy, but I remember being like a little child, bro. Like, bro, teleportation,
well,
that's nothing, man. We'll figure that out.
well, it sounds crazy, but the fact that you even have that we even have that thought, though, it isn't
Mhm,
that crazy, because
mhm.
if you can think it and it's in movies and shit, think about how many times movies and TV shows have predicted the future, like
The
literally
Simpsons,
the Simpsons, literally.
calling them out.
Exactly. Think about like Back to the Future. They literally predicted the invention of like skateboards,
Yeah.
or like all types of stuff. Like, so
Did
I
they not
mean,
have skateboards when Back to the Future was out?
I don't skateboards is it's like 80 mid 80s type shit. So around the
Alright.
same time, they had like the little hoverboard. I mean, that was just the first thing that came to mind, but like so teleportation. So the first thing that I think of when I think of teleportation is Rick and Morty's, or
The
Rick's
portal
portal
gun.
gun.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing I think of
Hmm.
whenever I think of teleportation. And that that whole I mean, obviously it's a cartoon, but like,
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, I mean, it kind of makes sense. You place a portal, and portals are real. We can almost confirm that, correct?
Yep. No, there are
So,
essentially what you could consider a portal
so
in our atmosphere, straight up in the one that we're in.
right. So if we could somehow find a way to like corral them,
Hmm.
control them. I mean, who knows?
I actually, and here's the thing. I will give you a literal breakdown of how teleportation works because it's much simpler than that. It doesn't even have to be that complicated. A lot of people get the assumption that like teleportation has to bend the rules of physics, but the truth is you can make a literal form of teleportation very simply using the laws of physics that we have now. We don't have to break it. Like it's pretty simple. It's not simple, or else we would do it. Uh, but it's like not that complicated. Essentially, um, the portal stuff that you're talking about is using the rules of physics and it breaks it because the thing that we know, the thing that I think Newton did it. He said one of the rules of reality is that no matter cannot be destroyed or created. That's something we know. That's like fundamentals right there. So meaning like everything that goes and is from matter that has been used throughout eons. So you can't really ever destroy anything. It's still
Yeah,
there. Like the dust, like you can beat it and beat it and beat it, but the particles are still going to exist.
yeah,
So when they say teleportation with a portal, essentially what they're trying to say is that one thing that existed in one part magically, and this is where it's magic, goes from one side to another. And that's just essentially like moving the particles from one area to another, and that retains the same person. Because the way that I'm thinking about, which is the more scientific way, is essentially, and this is like jumping into thing, but the shock factor is you're basically killing whoever teleports and recreating them somewhere else. And
yeah,
that's like the that's where you get into ethical shit. And
yeah.
this is why I love physics. This is my favorite theory to talk about.
It's pushing
Is
the envelope a lot.
if you create teleportation, the way that I would go about it is you would create a machine essentially that reads your biological data down to every single molecule. Like you can't deviate from any, because in like the sci-fi ones, like if you teleport someone, they're like backwards or their head's
Yeah,
missing or something like that. And that would make sense because essentially what they're doing is if you tracked someone, that little tractor beam is actually writing down every single part about you, down to scar tissue, your eyes. And here's where it gets even more complicated, because it'd have to copy down the neural pathways in your brain. Because if you were to destroy someone and recreate someone somewhere else, you would basically be recreating them, and they'd be, like literally born that moment. And humans have basically the thing that makes you is years of neural pathways that you've built slowly over time, which has basically made you learn. That makes you who you are, your personality, your memories. All those are electrical sparks that connect from one node of your brain to another node. And so essentially the technology that we need is to be able to like track that down. That, because writing down scar tissue and stuff like that, it's not that hard. We could do that, because we have EEGs, MRIs, all that stuff that can enable like basically take photographs of every single meticulous part of your body. That's not that hard. The hard part is the mind. And we don't even fully understand the mind. So the way that I'm thinking about it is physics has to like take a big jump in that field in order to be able to achieve this. But I'm getting off topic. Essentially,
Yeah, no, you're good.
The machine would track you down from head to toe. Every part of you has to be written down like that. And it essentially like store that information. It would send it to another machine. Say you want to move from like Boston to Shanghai. One in Boston would write down your entire molecular data, send that data to Shanghai. Shanghai, that machine would essentially print you out doing Lord knows how.
Yeah.
And it would build you there. But see, the thing is, with the rule that we spoke about previously, is that no matter is created or destroyed. Therefore, the only way for you to exist in one location and reappear in another location is to destroy the first you and recreate you in another area. You're essentially not teleporting. You're dying and being born again in a different spot.
Yeah.
And that is the most like simplest way that we could do it without breaking the laws of the physics that we have now. The only problem is the technology. We simply don't have the technology. But what I love is with physics, we now have the knowledge of how to do it. We are only waiting on the technology. And that's just so amazing to me that it's like, we know how to do this. We just need like Elon Musk to step it up.
Yeah, a huge breakthrough. I mean, the way you break it down to it the way that you explained it, I mean, you're literally saying like you don't have to reinvent the wheel. If you really think about it, you don't. It's not something that like you can still follow it's the laws of physics. It kind of gives you guidelines almost. It's like this is how you do it basically. It's like you can't just create. You can't just be like, okay, boom, I'm creating this person, but it's one thought that comes to my head is how interrelated is teleportation and like time travel?
I'm glad you asked,
because you're kind of traveling.
Creates a bigger problem. Yeah.
You're kind of like traveling and it sounds stupid, but you're kind of traveling to the future, which you kind of always are.
Time,
but
I mean, maybe like it'll be instantaneous.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming like essentially in your mind, you died in one spot, and then let's say it takes 12 minutes to print you out. You're now awake 12 minutes later.
Right.
So in your mind, literally 12 minutes happen without you noticing. And that could be considered time travel. And I said it a lot of times, teleportation opens up a lot of fronts. Like it isn't just a matter of like, oh, cool, we can zip from like point A to point B. That's space exploration. You set up bases in these machines in moons. What used to take like eons to travel in light years, now you can do it in 5 seconds, like from base, like machine to machine to machine. That opens up everything. Freaking what's it called? Public use. Cars would be a thing in the past because you wouldn't have to emit any gases. You'd literally just be utilizing, I don't know, whatever it takes to create a person. But like all these things would be opening up for the realm of science if we were able to teleport. You're right with the whole thing of time travel. It's possible. I'm not saying it's not. I don't per se know how that would work.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess Futurama, man. You know how he was frozen in that little time capsule. If you copy someone's like molecular data and just decide not to create them in that time period, you could have them in theory wait for years and years and recreate them in the future. Even further, the concept of death wouldn't happen at all, because if you have their neural pathways, you could create any form of person at any point in time, even after their death.
Right.
And see, that's where I'm saying with ethics, because
Yeah.
it
Is
has
that
to play with, do we have a soul? And once we die, how do you copy a soul, if
yeah.
there even is a soul?
Yeah.
So
I mean,
and then that dips into like more like, oh, should we even make this? And I'm like, fuck yeah, we should make this.
well, there's some important people in throughout history who they have in a cryo freezer right now. Like Walt Disney, I'm pretty
Yep.
sure is frozen. You
They
know,
say
like
he's in Disneyland right now, just chilling.
that's what they say. I mean, but maybe someone like Michael Jackson maybe is frozen too. And I mean,
Tupac,
yeah,
that boy frozen
yeah. Well, he could still be walking around. That's all.
in
But
Cuba,
who
chilling.
really knows? Yeah, just chilling, man. Just
See, that's the
ducking the
other thing,
feds.
where it's like my little crackhead vibes at 2 a.m. is teleportation more feasible than we know? As of now, all that we know is, I think I read an article in China, they were able to transmit pieces of data from one point in a base into space. And it's like, it's not teleportation, but it's the closest that we have ever gotten in
What do you mean by like
transmitting that
pieces?
data.
You mean like pieces of data, as in like what do you mean by that?
I don't know what the data is. I bet you it
Okay.
was like, maybe it could have just been like an image, or
Okay.
like a little, like maybe a word or a phrase, but it's like data, because
Okay.
it wasn't very descriptive in the article. It
I
just
got
said
you.
we were able to put it from one base to another in
Instant.
terms of like instantaneously. Like there was no
Yeah.
real pathway. And that is another thing of physics, which I learned, which has to do with like particles and the different ways that they communicate with each other. Is that I learned this like a while ago, because I learned it a while ago. I don't remember it perfectly, but the way that particles work in space is they communicate with each other. Um, and it's very interesting because they know how to revert their ions specifically. Like, so some ions will be spinning upwards and some ions will be spinning downwards. But the thing that has eluded many physicists is, how do they know? How do they know to be in perfect
Yeah.
synchronization with each other without even like conversing with each other? Because there's no ingrained DNA in each other to say, hey, by the way, if you're close to this dude and you spin it upwards, spin downwards, bro.
Yeah.
It just happens instantaneously. And I
And
feel like with physics, if we were able to tap into that kind of like deeper level of like understanding,
Yeah.
we could possibly open up so much. So there's so much that we physically don't know. And that's why physics is just so amazing, because it is literally understanding. It's the study of how everything works.
So it's interesting how, I mean, physics is the combination of math and science. And then also you were talking about like simulation theory and stuff. And what if we are really zeros and ones? You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
and with physics, you're basically trying to crack the code of the formula of how our toenails are on our toes. You know what I'm saying? Like how we can build big ass skyscrapers without them falling down and be able to stand for hundreds of years. Like it's such a broad spectrum of things as well. But like it's really interesting. I mean, our brains, I mean, we can only tap into 6% of our brain or whatever it is. You know what I'm
I feel
saying?
like that was debunked.
Was it
It's not.
really?
It's not 100%. I'll give you that, but it's
Yeah.
not
So
that low of a number. It's pretty high, but it's still not 100%,
yeah,
which is a little bit disappointing.
it is. It is like
I also heard that when you die, you release 100%, which is why people say they see a bright light is actually all your neurons firing at once,
yeah.
and that simulates light because of the energy in your brain. Because it's those final moments, it like releases that
Mm-hmm.
final burst, and that's 100%. That is what 100% looks and feels like.
So how deeply invested are you in like the simulation theory, simulation thoughts? I mean, there's only so much. I mean, what the little bit of Elon Musk saying that it was a good chance, or there was a like, what did he say? There's a likely chance that we are in a. He like broke it down to like, well, there's this much of a chance that we're not, and I feel like there's a greater chance that we are. I mean, beyond that, I don't really know too many people who've been able to like communicate it. You know what I'm saying?
I actually can, because I've been thinking about this ever since I was in high school. I went to college. Well, sort of. I got kicked out of my high school, and they sent me to college to do high school and college at the same time.
Oh man.
Um, Which no, it was better because I wasn't going to graduate before, and with that, I was able to get college credits and graduate on time,
Nice.
which was fantastic. But essentially, I told you I sucked at English, so I took an English course and I failed that immediately. But that's because I hated the teacher. The teacher sucked. But I was able to get my English credits because of a speech class I took, and I loved that speech class. That speech class was amazing. My first assignment was to like just create a speech pre-written, and it was for cannibalism. And so
Dude.
I got a pretty bad rap for that in the classroom.
Bro, I took a religion and society class my first semester in college, and we learned about cannibalism, bro. All right, don't butcher me here, but dude, there's some semi-ethical ways that they practice cannibalism.
That was essentially my topic. The only problem is the brain. The brain creates diseases that make people sick. But aside from that, there's some plausible ways that you could straight up finish world hunger with ethical cannibalism.
Okay,
but they weren't ready for that.
I didn't get that far, but there was this one like tribe or one culture in Africa that they eat their ants. They eat like their grandmother's remains so that they can pass. So
that's
it's
actually what Wolverines do. I said Wolverines. Wolverines, yeah. That's what they do. They eat their young as a form of preserving the energy that it took to birth the child.
Right.
They eat it to return that energy. I don't know if that's if it works the same with humans.
But I mean, it's not like that tribe. They were just like hunting down people and stabbing them in the heart. Like no, like these were like deceased people, and they were like eating part of their organs. And it sounds so gross, but like, I mean, it's
the only
pretty
gross
harmless.
Part of it is the stigma. That's literally the only reason something is bad is because we as a society deemed it bad. There is no bad thing about cannibalism. There's just a stigma about cannibalism, which is the only difference.
You're definitely right, man.
But my point is,
the stigma was Jeffrey Dahmer.
He did it wrong. He did it wrong, and he fucked it up for the rest of us. That did not win me brownie points for any of the people in my class. They were like, "That's the cannibal guy." So I had to step up my game, which came around because there was a college-wide speech. It was not debate, but it was a speech tournament, kind of like a speech contest
showcase. Okay.
And I'm a talker, right? I used to have that silver tongue, not as much anymore, but I used to just like be with it with the words. That was many drugs before. And so I decided, fuck yeah, man. I got things to prove here. I decided I was going to do it, but I am also not the best at scheduling. I forgot that it was a thing until the very last minute. I was at my lunch and I was like, "Fuck, that's today."
Oh, fuck.
And so I was like, fuck, what can I talk about? And I remember that I'd always thought about the theory of reality. And ironically, I had a classmate who I was talking to a lot. And I was explaining, I'd literally just drop these bombs on him. I'm like, bro, you're not real. You're possibly a dream. Nothing exists, and none of it matters. And he would just like, I think I made him like a little bit kind of like insane for the semester, like a little bit. Like every day I'd see him, he'd get like progressively like more paranoid and more, like
introverted.
I fucked him up a little bit. So my thing was gonna be informational. It was gonna be like, yo, you're not real, but that's okay, right? Well, that originally I wasn't even gonna do that. I was just gonna tell him because there was two different categories. There was informational and argumentative. But I'm a dumb man because when I entered, not only did I write an entire speech in an hour, I didn't even write the speech. I wrote intro. What I was gonna say for my intro is like the universe is a hologram, or what is it? Program. The universe is a program. And then for my 3 points, I just quickly wrote something down, and then I wrote conclusion. Like literally, I wrote conclusion on my notes, and then just while I was sitting in a little giant auditorium with like more than hundreds of people who were all trying to compete against me.
Oh wow!
I just memorized the word intro, 3 points, conclusion, just
there
over and over and over in my head.
Boom, boom.
I didn't even write. I didn't even memorize what I was gonna say. I just memorized intro, 3 points, conclusion. And I spoke my little ass off. And here's a basic rundown of what I said. Right now, everything you see is a program. And the real you has died probably millions of years ago. And the way that I can explain that, I could do this with math, by the way. And I use math. I pulled out numbers. Everything you see is generated by a user. And that's the terminology that I used. It could be you, it could be me, it could be some random dude on the street, it could be somebody you've never met. But essentially, your life is built in seconds or milliseconds, even faster, or not. And maybe you are the user, and this is just a simulation. But basically, the technology would have to be so like what we have now with VR, and it would be a virtual reality is essentially what we're talking about. That's the word I was looking for, not program. Virtual reality. It's so complex that we can create whole worlds where you can walk around. And I saw recently there's like a gaming company that's creating gloves that have sensors,
The haptic.
so that way,
Yeah.
yeah. So everything you touch in game, they simulate little like pressure pads that touch your hand, so it feels like you're touching what you're touching in game. It's getting so advanced, but the thing is, in the future, it's supposed to get so advanced that you won't be able to know whether it's true or not. And there are three rules that abide by this a virtual reality. The first rule is we will never be able to create virtual reality that is so advanced that you won't know it's not true. That's the first rule. That's just what could happen in our future. Maybe we never do. The second rule is we will have the technology to create virtual reality and choose not to do it. And that's a possibility as well, that we just like will be able to, and it'll be hidden from us and we'll never be able to do it. Or the third one is, and this is the one that I talked about, is that we will have the ability to create complex virtual reality that you will not be able to discern whilst in the program. And we've already done it.
We've already done it. Yeah.
Essentially how it works is, and the thought experiment I did is, you're in a room, right? Somebody else is there in that room with you. Or no, even easier, you're in a cafe, right? It's a busy cafe. You just ordered a drink and you're sitting at the stool, right? You're talking to your friend, and then some guy walks in. And that's the user. That's the person who's currently playing this virtual reality of 2020, August 1st, 9 o'clock, right? That's the name of the game. It's a boring name, but that's the name of it. Essentially what that program is, it is running you August 1st, 2020, 9 o'clock. In that day, they were either able to track down everything that happened that day in time down to the very last detail, and they were able to create a whole game about it, or it's just a made-up thing that some programmers were able to write up, and that branches out into different realities. But essentially, that's the program. That's everything that's been written down in the little disk. I mean, disks are already obsolete now, so chip or program, that's what they program. So this guy comes in and he talks to you and he says, "What did you do yesterday at 2 a.m?" Now, if you say user error, that's going to sound weird, right? That user is going to know that you're not a good programmer. He's going to know that you're a programmer because all points of games is to immerse you in the experience. So you're probably going to say, well, first of all, you're probably going to say, "What the fuck, dude? Like, who are you?"
Yeah, who are you?
That'd be the most human and natural experience to immerse the user. But if, say, you were to think about it for a second, you're like, "Yo, what did I do yesterday?" And you'll start to think of all these memories that you have of what did I do yesterday. And you'll remember that. You'll think you remember that. But the reason that I say that we're all in a simulation, you won't even know it, is that in that split second where that guy, the user, didn't go into the cafe and he was looking at his feet, you didn't exist. You did not exist. Nothing about you existed in that reality. You were gone. And the moment he looks in, you were born. You don't have any memories. You're a blank slate. But the moment he asks you, "What did you do yesterday?" the program should initiate and make a narrative for you and fill you with all these memories of something that you did yesterday. It might even give you so many memories as to like think of your entire life, everything that you thought of made in a millisecond, just so that way the user could say, "Oh, that's a normal human response that he just said." Same thing that the user could say, "Oh, what was the name of your parents?" You'd have to think of that. But the only reason that you would know those answers is because some nerd, some programmer who's getting paid probably buku bucks wrote down in a little program, "Okay, if faced with this task, say this." And the thing is, programmers are so intelligent that they can write programs that are so versatile for any line of string of input. And in the future, Lord knows what we're going to have. It's going to be so complex that literally anything you ask, a user could respond with. And the problem is, it's going to get so bad that even the people inside that simulation won't even know they're in a simulation. And that's the problem. Even this moment that we're sharing right now could just be maybe 5 days from now. The user asks you, "Hey, what did you do 5 days from now?" I was like, "Well, I was in this interview. I was talking to this guy."
Yeah.
But that's only because he asked you that question. 5 days ago, you didn't even exist. 5 seconds ago, before meeting the user, you did not exist. And the way that I proved it with math, because everyone was like, I'm real, this is real.
Yeah.
Right now, highest streaming game. There's a population of 7 billion. We'll round it out, make it like 8. No, not even 8. We'll do 20 million. 20 million, because sometimes it's not fucking 50 million. 50 million downloads on, say, freaking Flappy Bird or whatever, right? That's 50 million downloads of one program. Now, say in the future when we have a higher population than 7 billion, say that's 10 billion, that's going to be, we're going to double 50. We're going to be 100,000, 100 million downloads of one program, which is, what's today's date? October 9th, 2020. That is 100 million different versions of us all living and running on a program in a computer in the future. So the odds of us being real is 100 million to 1.
Right.
That is the odds of us. And that's what I think we were talking about.
It's
Elon
not looking
Musk.
good. Yeah.
It's not looking good. And because keep in mind, we're still in the story. This is the spiel that I'm giving. The sad,
go ahead, man.
depressed college kids that just woke up and they decided to go to this college tournament for extra credit and to look good on their resume. And they're hearing me tell them in detail how they don't exist. And mind you, all this I said 1 hour preparation, barely any freaking details. I just memorized the structure of a sentence. And here's the funny part. Here's a kicker. I submitted it in the wrong one as debate instead of informational, when it should have been informational. So out of my ass, I just pull. But here's the good thing: even if you're not real, it's okay. And that's the debate. That's the controversial thing, is to tell them that they're not real, but to explain why it's okay that they're not real. And that one, I didn't have to. I could have just left him blind like that, but I told him, fuck it and whatever. I did this damage. I learned from my first time. I have to do some damage control. Essentially, even if you're not real, it's fine, because the consequences of your reality still apply. Even if nothing you do doesn't exist, essentially what happens is, if you're in the future and you're a program, the real you has died years ago. Like the 1 in 100,000, that one died years ago, and you're just a remnant of something that had lived years ago. You're a ghost, basically, running on a program. And people would be like, well, if nothing I do matters, I can do anything, because that's what 100 years ago me did, and it doesn't matter. I can just go and kill someone. But I say,
but you still have consequences.
Still apply. You go to jail. That person is still dead. And even though you did that before, that's not the life that you want. The life that you want is to succeed in this capitalistic ideology that we have now. But that's okay, and that's okay. The love that you feel is still real. The sadness you feel is still real, because the consequences of your reality still apply. If you lived in a different reality where those didn't apply, maybe I would say something different, like, yeah, fuck it, go ahead. But the truth is, you still have consequences for everything you do, so you still live life the way you did before. And that's the little thing that I pulled out of my hat. I fucking won second place for that stupid ass speech.
Who beat you?
I don't know.
What was their topic?
I don't remember. I think I learned a while ago, but it was not as interesting as mine.
Wow. Well,
it's honestly because I was in the wrong fucking category.
Hey, you still did that though. So, Ruben, does Ruben believe in free will? That's what I wanted. That's kind of the question I had for you. When it comes to, you're basically saying, if I was giving you option A, option B, simulation, no simulation, you're probably picking option number 1, correct? Do you believe in free will though?
See, here's the thing. I think that both basically exist in tandem. The way that we progress through life, if there's religions that are based on the idea that everything is predetermined, and they fall under the same class as any other person's religion, they'll be in the same religion and believe completely polar ideologies, and they still exist in tandem. So my thing is, I feel the way that I think it's by case, how you were as a person. My thing is, I was taught to admit to the consequences of everything that I do. Like if you do something wrong, you own up to it. I mean, I have harder times than most people will with it, because I'm prideful. But I think to believe that everything is predetermined is kind of like a pussy out. Like it's like a cop out. Like, I did this, but I was gonna do it anyways. Like, no, bro. You chose to do that,
Yeah.
and that is what you decided you would
Like
do.
you chose to run that stop sign and hit the guy on the bike in the intersection.
Mhm.
Like it wasn't. I personally think free will is very real.
Mhm.
Personally, I feel like I have control over my own reality. Um, I mean, I personally don't feel like yes, we have a conscious who's, me and you were having this conversation. I feel like the words that I'm speaking are my words, And also, I mean, and it goes to what if there's some super skilled programmer who
Mhm.
is, who's basically just keeping up with my shit going on in my brain, and he's just like he's already just got this program going and he's just basically just keeping this conversation going.
I mean, see, that's also the bigger problem with free will, and see, this is what philosophers think, and that's why I love philosophy too.
I never really
Is
realized the relationship with philosophy and physics before.
straight
I've
up, and
never.
it's a very easy bridge, because
Mhm.
philosophy is to understand the thinking of why, and physics is the understanding of how.
How? Yeah.
Um, what what I think is hard is to say you have free will is almost a bit too egotistical as well, to think that you have any true power over this universe, because if you think
Yeah.
about it, a lot of the things you do are based on your environment, the
Mm.
people that you're around, the society that you've been brought up in. All of those things affect you as a person. The words that you said you chose those, are those even your words, or are they a
Yeah.
reflection of the way that you were brought up, the media that
Mhm.
you took, the way that you were raised, and the friends that you
Parents.
made?
Yeah.
You were raised to be the person that you are, and that's hard to say that all the decisions you make are your own, because they're affected by so many ulterior decisions that weren't your own. The reason that you didn't get freaking Starbucks this morning was because the line was too long, but you didn't decide for the line to be too long. That was a group of decisions that was predetermined before you
Mm.
by other people and their free will. So it's hard to just decide that we have free will, in the sense that it's hard to say that we decide what goes on in this universe, because we aren't the center of the universe. We are merely dots bumping into each other. And
Yeah,
that's
man.
hard, and I
It's hard to
find it a
accept.
bit like egotistical when someone says I have free will. I'm like, well, you can't really say that, but
Yeah.
it's also, you can't really say that you don't have free will. So it's a conundrum. It's a big paradox.
It is. I mean, just like with fucking damn near everything in life, bro. There's exceptions to every rule. Like, I
Yep,
mean, there's like, oh, well, he killed someone, but it was self-defense, or
exactly.
he killed someone, but it was an accident. Like that type of
Yeah.
stuff. So,
And
it's
that's why I love these quandaries that you have to think
yeah.
about. That's why I love thinking, man, because you're never gonna be really done.
You ever thought about starting your own podcast?
My mom literally just told me that, like, before I
Dude.
started this, and she said, "Yeah, interview people and talk about these things." And I
I
was like,
mean,
maybe, I don't know. I've never like done anything like that, so I
mm,
was like, I don't know if I'd be any good. I'm always busy.
yeah,
I got
I
work,
feel.
and you've heard me today. All this, like, Wednesday I was busy.
Oh, dude,
Friday, I
you are
literally just
good.
came back from taking care of a friend. My girlfriend's dyeing her hair in the bathroom. I was helping her before this. After this, I'm gonna go and try and help her as much as I can.
Oh yeah. Look,
So I'm always like busy. That's the thing. I'm always
I
busy.
look, I feel that, bro. I feel that 100%. But dude, if personally, man, so I've been doing music for a while too,
Hmm.
and the YouTube thing, I run like, YouTube channel. I do vlogs and like just random videos and whatnot. But the
Hmm.
podcast has really consumed my life for like the last probably like 9 months or so. Um, I don't know, man. Whenever I get into something that like I like, bro, it's borderline obsession. Like, and I'm so passionate about
Hmm.
stuff that I'm passionate about. If
Hmm.
I'm really into something, bro, like I'm really into it. Like, whenever I was first starting this, it was like, okay, YouTube, Google, how to start a podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, okay, I need a microphone. Okay, what are some decent budget microphones, and then like that type of stuff. And then there's so many tiny little things that you don't really know that you need. And then once you get all your hardware, it's like, okay, now how do I actually
Yeah.
direct a podcast? How do I actually steer a conversation? You know?
Hmm.
But yeah, dude. So PC gamer.
Well, I was just about to say my thing. The reason I didn't is I don't know. I never really grew up with a lot of ambition.
Okay.
Per se, I always just kind of did. I was like, okay, I graduated elementary school. Okay, I have to go to middle school. Okay, I graduated that. I got to go high school. My parents said I got to get a job. I'll get a job. I never really did anything for me. Uh, but whenever I heard these crazy like ideas that my friends had, they're like, yeah, let's start a YouTube channel. I'm like, fuck it, yeah, why not? I'm dating my girlfriend now. We've been together for a year and a month.
Oh, nice.
Love of my life. I swear I'm gonna freaking marry that
Oh, that's
lovely
wonderful.
lady. But she's on Twitch. She's a gamer,
Mm.
like professional and all that. She's really good.
Hell yeah.
I met her and she told me about these dreams and aspirations, and I said, you know what, my life now is in service of that dream and that goal because fuck it, I love you so much. I want to make sure that you have what you need. So she was just really playing off the PlayStation. She had a
Mm.
little mic set up and a little like webcam, and she was just streaming like that. And she had like a pretty big fan base, but
Nice.
her ex a dick, and she was like, "I don't want you doing that anymore." So she had to close up shop. Now me though, I'm the fucking best boyfriend. I spent every paycheck after every week I would buy new PC parts, and every week I'd get a new paycheck. I'd buy a new part. Every week I'd buy a new part. I bought all these pieces at like round like $1,000 or more than $1,000,
Mm.
and I built this PC just like googling it on the internet. And I bought her this webcam recently, and I'm like, this is in service of your dream. Um, I want you to have this so that way you'd be able to be the streamer that you want to be, so she can quit her job because she hates it there.
Yeah.
And this is what she wants to do with her life. So I'm like, yeah, go for it, man. That is my ambition, is to make sure your ambitions are correct.
That's awesome, bro. Like that's genuinely like that's awesome, dude. Seriously. Like keep doing your thing, bro. What kind of games and stuff does she stream?
She's super freaking good at Overwatch. I think she was
Overwatch.
platinum or
Okay.
whatever it was. She plays Outer Worlds. She does a lot of Skyrim RPG stuffs because she just enjoys them so much. I'm trying to get her a Delgado so I can have her stream Animal Crossing. She loves Animal Crossing.
Okay.
I've had her play COD before.
Okay.
And I play COD. That's why.
Yeah.
And like her ex is again a dick. He would always like rage quit and throw the controller, just be an upright Kyle. And so that turned her off to the experience. But when she plays with me, bro, I tell you, she is so good. Like
Yeah.
I'm not the worst,
Yeah.
but I'm not like all the best. But she's like really good into the sense that she has potential. Like if she played, she would be hitting all these trick shots, all
Yeah.
these quick scopes, all that stuff.
Mhm.
She could be really good, and I kind of want to push her towards it because the fan base for COD with a girl, it's just phenomenal. You can go so far.
Well, that's cool that she does like more than one game too, man. The variety.
Mhm.
That's a thing that some I'm big into Twitch. I have a friend who uses Twitch, and he's mainly Call of Duty.
Mhm.
But he's really good. It's just it's so hard to get a following on there. But that's one thing about some like even popular Twitch streamers. They'll get really good at a game, and they'll be at the top of like said game. And then once that game dies down, that's kind of it. You kind of have to be versatile.
Yeah.
You got to be able to like be like, okay, I got to jump over here and play Among Us, or whatever is kind of hot.
Yeah, I mean, I always tell her, it's like I wouldn't be doing all this if I didn't believe you couldn't do it. Like if I really thought, hey, you're not really much of like an entertainer. I don't think you should do this.
Yeah.
I strongly believe that this is something that she's good at because she's good at games, and she gives good reactions and she's a good entertainer
Yeah.
and all that. So I'm like, I really think you can do it. Me on the other hand, I'm like, I know who has it, who doesn't, and
Yeah.
I definitely don't have it because when I get in the game, bro, I'm just like laser focused and I'm not entertaining. I mean, I like
yeah. Kind
say
of go
dumb.
quiet. Yeah.
That's also the danger too, because I say a lot of dumb stuff while I'm playing games to the point where I don't trust myself to be recording that.
That is a good thing, or that is a thing that you don't really think about. You're someone with like Nick Merckx or something on Call of Duty, and he's he's PG-13, kind of rated R, but he's not like rated R.
Yeah, and that's a talent, or maybe it's even just a personality type of being able to have that like natural input
Self-control.
sensor
Yeah.
and self-control that I just know
Mhm.
I don't have, because if I get shot while some dudes can't spawn camping me, I'm finna let everything fly and let you know how pissed off I am.
That's funny. Oh man. So what are some things outside of physics? So you said you play 7 instruments too, man.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. So go ahead and just name me those. What instruments do you play, man?
Off the top of my head, I don't know if I can remember all of them,
Oh,
but
what?
piano,
Okay.
played the guitar, I play the bass, trumpet, I play the pan flute. What else? I play the ukulele, which is kind of cheating, but it's not the same as the guitar. Trust me, I've tested it.
Okay.
Um, and then the final one, the marimbas. There we go. I remember them all.
What is that? A drum
It's like the
type
little,
deal?
the little. It's not called the marimbas. It's in Spanish. It's marimbas because my grandma gave it to me from Ecuador. But
Ah.
what are those things, like the little skeletons and you're playing spooky music? It's like you hit it with 2 little sticks and it's like little metal plates.
I
And
think I know what you're
a
talking about.
xylophone.
A
Xylophone.
xylophone.
It's like
Okay.
a xylophone, but it's much,
Okay.
much smaller.
Okay.
And it's made out of like usually wood.
So were you like in like band or any kind of deal
No,
like that?
not
Like
even.
how
I
did
was in
you?
band for like a semester when I was in middle school.
Okay.
But really more just because I wanted to like play trumpet and I wanted to like go on my New Orleans jazz vibes. They just wanted me to play like freaking Pink Panther, which is whack. Um, but I said the ironic part is that when I was a kid, I wanted to play the drums so bad, so bad. I felt like that was something I could do, and my dad was like, "You can't take the drums to the beach," and I was like, "Why would I take the drums to the beach?" He's like, "Play the guitar, that's better," and I'm like, "I don't want to play the guitar," and I thought I was done with that conversation. Until Christmas came along, and I like look under the tree. I'm like, "Oh, it's a guitar,
It's a
the thing I
guitar.
didn't want." And I'm not ungrateful, so I was like, "Oh, thanks." And so he signed me up for classes with the blues teacher, and in that I started learning guitar from a blues teacher, and it's ingrained in so much other genres of music.
Oh yeah.
I took it for about a year and I started training with him, and he really got me into it because I was like, fuck it, I can actually play this. And then I played another year. Well, actually, the rest of these years that I've been playing have been all self-taught, just sort of like, scrolling through different forms of guitar and guitar theory.
Tutorials.
Yep.
Okay.
Guitar tabs, anything I could really get my hands on. I just like, I want to learn how to play this song that I heard on a TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Or I want to hear this song that I've been playing over and over in my head. I want to be able to play that. And so I learned that on the guitar, and I learned that for like all these, it's been like maybe more than, what is it, like 7 years, 6 years, something around like that. And then I realized I had like I was playing guitar pretty good, and I was like, oh, I like music, I like playing instruments. So I picked up my brother's ukulele that he got for Christmas because he decided he wanted to learn that, and he never touched it. He like literally never played it. And I was like, fuck it, you know what? Let me try and learn this. And so I spent another like what's it called, like a few months actually at that point, just like going on Google and like looking up how to play the ukulele to the point that I could play the ukulele. And I was like, wow, that was pretty fun. And so I was like, hey, Mom, can I get a keyboard, like a little piano keyboard? And I was just started playing that. And I was like teaching myself. Essentially, like I would just pick up an instrument and I would try my best to learn that one over and over and over again until I like perfected as much as I thought was good.
All right, let's go to the next one.
The next one.
Yeah.
Just basically any instrument I could get my hands on. And I knew that that was mine. And I had time to practice it whenever I had my off time. That's what I would do. And then I would learn the next one and the next one and the next one until I got to 7. And I still want to keep going, man. Like any new instrument, I want to learn how to play the violin, something cool like that, or the saxophone. Like just, I want to know and create as much as I can in that musical world because it's just so much fun.
So give me some bands, rappers, singers, artists who you like.
This is a tough one because a lot of people ask me.
Oh, dude, I ask so many people that. Anyway, anybody you ask that, it's such a broad question, but like, don't even think about it too hard.
Well, no, that's the thing. It's hard because when everyone asks, what's your favorite genre? I say everyone, and everyone says, oh, I like all music except country. Bro, I will listen to even country. I like country. That's the thing.
I'm from Tennessee.
Tennessee. I listen to Nate's music at work. I know what we're talking about when we say Tennessee country.
Dude, I live 30 minutes from Nashville, which is Music City.
That's what I'm saying.
Music's, yeah.
I started off with like my mom and my dad would start me off with like, you know, they're from my mom's from Mexico, my dad's from Ecuador.
Okay.
He would play, you know, his like I learned Mexican rock at a young age. I learned a lot of like classic Manu Chao. He's from France parts, but he sings in Spanish. So like a lot of like Hispanic music I learned. But at the same time, they had, you know, they grew up here as teenagers in America. So I listened to a lot of like the cool stuff. So I would listen like Coldplay, U2, Gorillaz was my favorite as a
Oh,
kid.
such a clusterfuck. Like
Honestly,
they were so ahead of their time, bro. No one's ever like
honestly,
they. I mean, I don't know their whole discography, obviously, but like the Gorillaz, they have just that hip hop
yep.
rock alternative thing, dude. No one's ever been able to like recreate that.
Not even them, because honestly, their new stuff does not hit the same.
No, it doesn't.
The sauce is gone. The sauce is gone, and that kind of sucks. But essentially, I was introduced to a wide variety of music as a kid, but the problem was there was a lot of barriers that I saw as a kid. I did not listen to rap as a child because I was like, I just can't get into it. I don't understand what they're saying. A lot of what I basically found were excuses not to break into that because I felt comfortable in the realm that I had created. You know, listening to like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Foo Fighters, all that stuff, just like that genre of like, it was like alt rock at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I decided when I was in middle school, I was like, you know what? This is just I saw it as an excuse. I'm like, I need to figure out how to like this other music. Honestly, it was just because I felt like alienated when I would say, oh, this is what I listen to. Like, I don't listen to that. I felt bad. And I was like, okay, that's not how I make friends. So let me listen to what they listen to. And the way I figured out was my algorithm was I like these music that I listen to now. And this is a new genre. So the way I broke into it is I found something that I did like from the new genre, something that I was like, okay, why do you like listening to rap music? And they're like, oh, I like the lyrics. So I said, okay, let me listen to the lyrics and actually truly read them.
Yeah.
And then I started to appreciate what they liked about that. And then I monopolized on that and it sort of like grew. And I did that for every single genre. If I found a new genre, I'd be like, okay, what did they like about that? And then I learned to appreciate that and it would grow and grow and grow until I felt like I had truly like appreciated that genre.
Yeah.
When I could say, this is the genre that I like and this is why I like it. And of course there's always going to be, and I feel like the true posers for the music genre are the people that seek out and try to alienate that culture. Those are the posers. That's stupid.
Yeah.
So I started getting into rap and I really like a lot of like lyrical rap. Kendrick Lamar, I'm always going to say, just phenomenal rapper. He the way he like, he originated with poetry and that's what rap is rhythm and poetry.
Yeah,
honestly,
he transcends the culture. Just the. I mean, dude, he doesn't look at him. When was the last time you even saw his face? You know, on the internet, he's a ghost. I think one interesting thing. There's a stigma with rap music. Everyone's like, "Oh, it's violent and it's over sexual." That's not. It's not the only form of music that's like that. Listen to. All right, let's just look at 80s hair band metal. It's literally rapping all about sex and getting fucked up, you know.
It's not even just that. Like, you look at 80s, look at the more classical ones. You look at the actual, like, you know, malt shop genre of music they were talking about, like, me and your mom are doing it in a hair salon, and I'm like, bro, like, you're not even gonna freaking like try and code it. The thing is with Kendrick Lamar, if he's gonna tell you that he's trying to, like, you know, get some pussy, he will tell you in 5 different ways how he's trying to get that pussy, because that man is an artist. The way he does it is he makes you think about it. And what I love about Kendrick Lamar is that in an album, I will hear a whole story, an entire story of like bits and pieces. The thing he did with To Pimp a Butterfly, where at the end of every single track, he would write a new piece of the letter he was writing to Tupac. Freaking genius. Like, the man honestly wants you to listen to this and to truly hear what he's saying.
Top to bottom, like straight through. Don't skip anything.
No,
like listen to it as a body, as a whole thing. It's like one of my favorite personal. I get a lot of shit for this because people think he's corny, but Logic is my favorite rapper, and he does the same shit. He's got 2 concept albums, Everybody and The Incredible True Story. And The Incredible True Story is literally a fucking sci-fi movie if you listen to it from top to bottom, straight through, like the skits incorporated in it. And like, you know how sometimes rappers will have like at the end, Lil Uzi actually just recently did that on his Eternal Atake album, but like at the end it'll be like a little piece of the story, like at the very end of the
X did that.
song.
X did the same thing.
Absolutely. X is one of my favorite artists ever. He is,
A classic.
dude,
You know, R.I.P. X. Seriously.
he transcended, man. If you say you don't like X's music, you don't like music, because he did every single genre
He played
of music.
with a lot of
Every
different genres. I
and
love that.
it was just like, he was like, okay, I'm gonna hit every subgenre of rap. I'm gonna hit every subgenre of rock. He did hard rock, metal, indie, alternative, like R&B, alternative R&B. Like he was
Jazz.
jazz.
He played even with Latin stuff with that
Yes, yeah.
that one little feature.
Yeah.
He did so many
He did.
forms of music, and I love that when artists do that. I love it when they dip into like other things, because music is so fluid and so random. And that's what I was about to tell you. It's like my genre goes so much farther than just like one thing, because I listen to Mexican rock, I listen to Yiddish rappers, I listen to Belgian pop, I listen to experimental, with where a guy's just looping different sounds of a violin and making music out of that. I listen to pop, I listen to jazz, I listen to blues, I listen to reggae, hard rocks, emo, scream, metal rap, which is also a favorite one, Zillakami and fucking fucking soul something. I always forget it.
Yeah, those. There's something about that screamo rap live is insane. Like I saw Denzel Curry at well, all right, I don't know if you've heard about it, Bonnaroo. There's a music festival.
I literally just saw a video that Nate posted on Instagram.
Yeah,
I asked my girl about that. I was like, "What's Bonnaroo?" And she was like, "Oh, it's this thing. It's this music festival."
So
and I'm like, I
so
thought it was a place. I thought it was like a like a city.
No, so all right, quick backstory. That video was from one of my vlogs. I've vlogged Bonnaroo the past 2 years, so that was from my vlog. But this past year, but Bonnaroo is in this tiny little country city in Tennessee, about 30 minutes from here, from where I live. Literally, there's nothing in the city's called Manchester. Nothing in Manchester besides 5 days a year. They have a festival where like 80,000 people go, 90,000 people.
Damn.
It's huge. And I mean, they have everybody, dude. They've had Kanye, Paul McCartney, fucking Red Hot Chili, everybody. Literally, like, you could name an artist and they probably played there. It's sort of like Coachella. You know what I'm saying? Like that.
Coachella is like an overpriced marketing scheme, but
yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like, how Coachella pulls like huge artists. Yeah, like huge artists. But yeah, that's also.
I mean, it sounds fun. I think I've been to like maybe 4 concerts in my life.
Oh,
I love going to concerts, but I honestly, they're like, I talk about all this all the time. They're like, yo, we went to this concert on the weekend to go see Daniel Caesar. I'm like, bro, tickets were like $400.
I saw him at Bonnaroo.
Where are you pulling this?
Where are you
pulling this money from?
I saw him at Bonnaroo like midday. I mean, this is, mind you, this is a camping festival, like 4-night festival, and it was the last day.
I've been to a camp out fest before. I think Lightning in a Bottle. I don't know if you heard that one, but it was interesting.
I haven't.
Yeah, that was weird. That was a weird festival.
Tell me a bit about California, man. What's it been like growing up there, man? I mean, the city I live in is, I mean, it's not small by any means. I mean, but it's not like a million people like San Francisco. There's like 100,000 people. Nashville's a pretty big city, so I mean, I kind of know what it's like to be sort of around like big groups of people. But like Tennessee is such a, I mean, if you look at Tennessee on the population map, it's probably right there in the middle. You know, it's not like a small state, but it's also not like huge like California. So like, what's it like? What was it like being born there, growing up? What can you tell me about California, man?
I fucking love California. I fucking love it. All right. In the sense that I'm a patriot, hell fucking yeah, I'm a patriot. But I'm a patriot for actualized America. A lot of people want to tell you America was made by the freaking goddamn immigrants that came from Europe to America to become these self-actualized foundation people. That's not the truth, man. You were an immigrant too. There was
Mhm.
already Native Americans here who
Yeah.
were owning the lands that you decided weren't their
Chilling.
land.
They were
It was
chilling.
bad chill.
They were chilling.
That's its own little rant. But
Yeah.
freaking history for Latins for Latin history for morons by this one guy. He's a comedian on Netflix. That's definitely something to check out. But um, I love California because it is the melting pot for so many cultures.
Mm.
Um, just thousands of like Asians, Mexicans, Hispanics, and Latinos just in one area. African Americans, Africans, Koreans, Indians, Polynesians, freaking
Oh yeah.
Russians, just and every stretch of the globe that you can find, you'll find it here as well. You will meet so many people from different cultures and different ethnicities, different backgrounds, genders, and I love that. I love being exposed to just fresh new things that I never get bored of being like able to taste foods from different
Mm.
countries. I
Yeah.
went and I saw Texas for a little bit because I was with my girlfriend, and like it's changed. I mean, to be fair, where she was, it was like a suburb, and she calls it the concrete jungle because it is. It's chain restaurant after freeway.
Yeah.
Over here, it's like small little city blocks that you go to, like an
Where
Italian.
exactly? What exactly city do you live in?
Right now, Richmond, but Bay
Richmond.
Area, which
Okay.
is like
Okay.
not SF, not SF, which is
Okay.
like the big distinction.
How far
Is
do you
the
live
area.
from San Francisco?
I could like take BART and be there in like 20 minutes
Okay. I
if I
see.
wanted to.
I got you.
If I wanted to drive, that's a whole mess because traffic is the
Oh,
worst.
yeah. I mean, so I deliver for Amazon, and I
Mhm.
drive from my house, which is in Murfreesboro. It's my city, and it takes about it's like 40 miles to Nashville is where I drive. And dude,
Mhm.
traffic for Nashville traffic is awful, and I can't even imagine what that traffic is
It wasn't
out
even
there.
that bad. That's the thing. Like Bay Area traffic, it was chilling. But with
Mhm.
all these fires that we've been having, because California's
Oh
on
yeah,
goddamn
it's
fire,
on fire like
COVID
Australia.
hit as well too,
Hmm.
which made things even worse. So our traffic has been a mess, and
Yeah.
everybody decided that today was going to be the day that they just didn't want to like use both eyes driving or something because there's been so many car wrecks.
We've had it. We got terrible drivers out here. It's a bunch of old farts. It's a bunch of man. So I drive a van, like one of
Hmm.
those long vans. I'll be driving on the interstate and I get cut off every time I'm on the van. Just cut off. And I'm like, I'm not even, I'm going like the speed limit because I'm in my company van. Like I'm not in any hurry. I'm on
Hmm.
company time, and I just
Exactly.
get cut off all the time, man.
I mean, see, the thing is, I recently got my. I didn't even get. Okay, here's the thing. I didn't even get my license. I have my permit, because I can't take the driver's test because I can't get in the same car as anyone because everything's, quarantine.
Oh, damn.
So I got my permit during COVID, um, and I can't even take the driving test. So I have to be with somebody in the car who's over 18 or 18, so I
Oh,
can
man.
drive. But like I mean, I've always been in the car seat. I've always like, my dad taught me how to drive stick shift. I've always
Mhm.
been in the passenger seat, so I could always like see how traffic was, how to drive. He would always give me those
Yeah.
tips. My girl, being from Texas, which is a whole different like, thing. The speed limit is a goddamn suggestion. She has road rage like I don't even know. She hates the drivers here. That's what she told me. She tells me we drive crazy. I'm like, that's normal for me. Like this is just kind of how California is, man. Turn signals are something that nobody seems to have been taught. Uh, it's speeding is just always like a matter of seconds because everybody wants to be freaking fast and the furious. But I'm used to it. That's the thing. Like whenever we go out, I tend to drive because if she does, she'll start like melting down. She'll be like, I can't take it with these idiots anymore. I'm like, that's just Cali, baby, man. Like we drive, we drive.
So, how exactly, forgive me, how exactly do you know Nathan? Do you guys like work together
He
or
is my freaking
he's
boss.
your
He doesn't want
boss?
to call
Okay.
me his. He doesn't want to be called boss, but that man's
Okay.
essentially my boss.
Okay. I got you. I figured it was a work thing because
Hmm.
Nathan's only been out there for like a year, I
I
think.
didn't even know that.
Yeah, like year and a half maybe. It
Well,
still doesn't even feel like he's moved out there, but yeah. So
I didn't know that. I thought he's been here for a while.
no, it's 2019 for sure. I think June of 2019 was whenever he
Wow, so he's
moved
still
out.
assimilating. I mean, a year is
Absolutely.
a while, but like still, that's a
Yeah.
year acclimating. My
Mm-hmm.
girl's been here for like not entirely a year yet, and she's still like learning, and I feel bad because she like came while everything is closed, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna take you to Stinson. We're gonna go see the beaches. You're gonna be able to
Yeah.
go hiking,
Yeah.
and then
What
boom, quarantine. Everything's closed.
have you known anyone who tested positive for COVID?
No, kind of. I mean, like not known. I've heard, tell of like, oh, my boss, my girlfriend's boss literally got COVID, which is hilarious because they work at a lab, um, literally testing about COVID and stuff like that. There's been some scares at work, but nothing really like positive. Uh,
I knew a
but
few.
not really.
Someone I work with got it. No one else got it.
Mm.
And then one of my friends got it. He wasn't hospitalized or anything, but I know a few people actually. You know how, I mean, Tennessee, it's pretty red out here, so
No, no, yeah.
people can be ignorant, but I don't know, man. I'm going I just can't believe that they made the mask thing such a big deal. Personally, I don't think it works, but I'm not going to like fight anyone over it.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm going to go into the grocery store and the sign says mask required, oh, okay, well, I'm going to put it on. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
I think masks were honestly like a backup plan. I don't think the way that the Surgeon General came out with was like, oh, the piece of cloth will defend us from the core quarantine. What it was is we were supposed to flatten the curve with everyone staying inside for literally just a few weeks.
Yeah,
Just
just
a
2
few weeks. That's
weeks.
all it took.
Yeah.
And then we would have flattened it, and this thing would have been done with.
Yeah.
But everybody took it up the ass because whenever a government tries to tell you to do something, we all decide to be children
Yeah.
like as a group mentality. We're like, I don't wanna. And so
Mhm.
like they were like, okay, but if you're gonna go out, please, the bare
Please.
minimum you could do is put a mask on so we
Yeah.
could at least control what you're already messing up. So the truth is of like masks not working is possible. It's very plausible because I feel like the first line of defense wasn't gonna be a mask. It was
Yeah.
straight up that no one should even be out. And I told
Mhm.
everyone at my work, I said, if I see you out on Halloween, during a goddamn pandemic, I'm gonna get a pan and I'm gonna hit you upside the head because you deserve it. Because you
I,
know you shouldn't be out.
yeah, dude. It's just so crazy that people. I don't know, man. This year, man, has been crazy. Especially with you
Yeah.
guys out there with the wildfires too, man. I can't bro. So we had a pretty bad tornado actually, and in that, which I live pretty far from Nashville, but downtown Nashville got fucked up from
Mm-hmm.
a tornado in like March or February. Like fucked up, dude. Like it was bad. Like a couple people died and like a lot of businesses were destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't, that's as far as natural disasters. I mean, which tornadoes are about as bad as they get, but like
Mm-hmm.
we don't have too much here. I mean, we don't have fires. I guess we get a lot of rain out here. It's raining right now, actually. I
We never
think.
get any fucking rain. We're always in a
Well,
drought.
it's because there's a hurricane right now in the Gulf, so we get a ton of rain from the hurricanes and shit. So yeah, and it's like basically a forest out here, like for real. Like
Honestly.
we,
2020 as a whole has been freaking weird. I mean, we had what nobody talks about. Freaking the FBI or the government straight up released documents that there's parallel universes,
yeah,
that the Nikolai Tesla was a goddamn alien. We got Australia with the fires, got different freaking diseases going around. The presidency is crazy. Different governments. North Korea with that weird ass comment last year about like, we got a gift for you on Christmas. Like, what the fuck was that? Like,
yeah.
freaking Kim Jong-un is in a coma. Like, bro,
North
so
Korea.
much
All
crazy
right,
shit in
let me say this
2020.
about North Korea. Let me address North Korea right now. They don't got shit, bro. They are just talking out of their ass.
Well, mind you, they're very small in proportion of like what they have. They have been restricted with so many sanctions, so they don't really have that much
They
like
don't have,
going for them. They have barely any power to power their cities, no food to go around. Like if
but
you think about it, they're a literal third world country pretending
exactly.
to be a first
That's
world country.
that's what I'm saying. They're just talking out of their ass. But you go to South Korea, thriving.
Thriving.
They're just like America, dude. They really are. Their
They're
economy.
better than America.
Well, yeah. But what I'm saying, like their economy is like,
Yeah.
boom. I mean, our economy is pretty fragile right now. But like Samsung is,
Hmm.
people don't realize Samsung is bigger than Apple.
Oh, it is.
It really is. Like,
So Apple uses Samsung products in their computers.
right. So, I mean, it's crazy, man. But I mean, as far as North Korea, they ain't shit. They're just talking shit. But
The only problem is they have nukes. Like that's what we can't like forget. They legit have the military power to, do some damage. Like if they decided that they were pissed off and they were finna do it, bro, this entire West Coast is gonna be gone.
at
So
least
much so that the estimates would be that the dust cloud from the West Coast being emitted would be all the way to New York City.
at least Hawaii. I don't think that they can reach California, bro. I really don't think they could reach the West Coast.
They have redirecting missiles, which is like brand spanking new technology. Like they literally have those ones that can make a vertical, like a 90-degree projectile ascent and turn in a matter of seconds. So like the thing is, they have weapons and they have the ideology of their citizens to prepare to die for their country and go to
Yeah.
war. And that's just, it's like, it's dangerous because nobody should have that, but it's not dangerous because they're still like, poor and riddled with like systemic problems and stuff like that. So it's like, they're short term, they're big burn, but little fuse. And that's the problem. Those are the ones with the least to lose and the most
Yeah.
damage to do. It's the ones like, they're like, bro, if we go down, you go down with us. That's what we don't want.
I mean, Russia and China are two countries that definitely pose a threat because we're not on bad terms with them, but we're definitely not on good terms with them.
Trump's been sucking a lot of D to try and make
Well,
Russia like them. So
Now,
I don't know.
that's what I was about to get at. Now we have a better relationship with Russia today than we probably ever had.
Yup.
But
At what cost?
at what cost though? He probably had to give Putin a blowjob or something. But
Probably you give him that sloppy toppy. But see, the problem is we have been beating our chests for too long, saying we have the best military power, and the truth is, honestly, we do. We have the numbers, we have the training, we have everything. Not numbers, because if we're talking about numbers, China has more soldiers than we do. But our thing is, we have more access to technology. We have more training. The way you see military trainings right now, it's like a goddamn cult. Like if you said it, the moment we wanted to deploy somebody into something, we could do that. Anywhere, anytime. We have bases in different countries.
If there was a terrorist attack tomorrow in Kansas, we would get to the root of that by the end of the week, and we would be in whatever country that was.
If we wanted to deploy full military power and truly but that's the thing, we've been banging our chests for so long. I don't know when's going to be the next time that somebody's going to try and test us, because the thing is, we have that ability, but the problem is at the same time, we also don't have like good peace program set in place that truly mean that. I feel like America is just like this big bully that happens to be the strongest and the tallest of the bunch.
We're not looking like in the Middle East specifically. We're not looking for peace. We're just destabilizing.
We're doing a lot of short-term things. Well, we really should be looking for long-term goals.
Personally, I think. I mean, dude, we've made some good strides this year. Personally, as far as bringing troops home, I'm all for that, and we've brought a ton of troops home, and I'm all for that because I feel like dude. We're in countries we shouldn't even fucking be in.
Facts.
Like, why are we in South Korea? Right? Well, I know why we're in South Korea because
for the
we're
DMZ, North Korea,
But like, why are we in Spain? Why do we have an army base?
That's the problem.
In Spain?
I talked to Nate about that. A lot of the money that you pay for taxes aren't even going to the goddamn country that you're in. They're going overseas to fuel military bases in foreign friendly countries.
Like, why are we? It's crazy.
And the thing is, also, we're also pulling people out of places we do need to meet because Trump tweeted out, he's like, I wanted to get it done in this presidency, but maybe in the next one.
Yeah.
Sort of like, I want to pull all troops from Iraq.
Yeah.
And the Taliban publicly celebrated, bro. If you're having the Taliban freaking celebrate over a decision you made, that's a bad decision.
Yeah, it's
and
not
honestly,
good.
The Taliban, bro, like that's something I feel like you haven't heard since like they've been
2005.
It's been a while.
They've been pretty quiet.
But if they come out of the woodworks for a decision your president's making, maybe you shouldn't have that president making that decision.
Yeah.
It's a fuck show. Honestly, that's what 2020 is. It's a fuck show.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty crazy how it might just be. It's probably a global thing, but I feel like as Americans, it's been collectively. I mean, even us across the country who we're acquaintances, we can even collectively say that and agree upon this one idea that this year has been substantially. I don't want to say, I hate to say worse because it's pretty cynical, but substantially just, I don't know, man, just event after
pretty bad.
event.
It's been pretty bad.
I mean, dude, like even, all right, let's go back to the COVID thing for just a bit. If people did do the stay at home thing for 14 days, okay, and say that turned it, all right, let's just say everyone stayed home for a month. All right, they gave people one stimulus check.
Yo.
That's not enough. You know,
there was supposed to be a second one. That shit never came out.
No, it's not. Well, Trump said they were working on it, and you know, Trump and the House, they hate each other, so they were just arguing about it. And then Trump said, "Oh, I'm not doing it until the election is over." So I'm not doing the second one till you guys elect me again or whatever. You know,
which is literal bribery.
So I mean. It's such a, I don't know, man. It's so weird. And I think I wish this is one thing every day, especially when it comes to just COVID-19. I wish there was a reputable website, a reputable source where I could go and look at real live data. Okay. Like real charts that aren't biased. Like, oh, okay. We know every day we see on Fox News or CNN or MSNBC, oh, okay, we have had 200,000 deaths. Okay, we can agree that that's pretty true and accurate data. But we need to look at like charts, like trends, like real trends. Like, oh, or at least for like your area, your county. Oh, okay, today your county went down 5% in new cases. That's a good sign. You know what I'm saying? We need to. It's what I'm getting at is it's so hard to find real true charts and data for specifically that, and it should not be like that.
The ironic thing is we fucking like scream at the top of our lungs like, oh, we needed to spread democracy, spread freedom, we are the fucking country of freedom, that's just what we do, you know. If other countries disagree, too bad, we're gonna go spread freedom to them. And then we'll literally do the same things that they did. We will funnel the media to say what we want to say in our government. We'll overthrow certain people of power that should be put in power to create supreme power for somebody else. Like, my point is, we are so hypocritical.
Yeah.
It's insane.
You're right, man.
Like, there should be a normal, and you're right, a set base for information to flow into people to be able to do that. And I don't understand why there isn't, because that just feels like such a fundamental right for what we've all been saying. Like, if there was more information being publicly agreed upon, because they'll always say, oh no, that data is wrong or that fact is wrong, to the point where we will dispute science, and science is not disputable. Neil deGrasse Tyson, he's on his TikTok, and he's like, the thing I love about science is science doesn't need you to believe it for it to be true. It's just true. That's not something you believing in it affects it. It just happens.
It's fact. No, I definitely look, and you're gonna think I'm crazy too. I am not completely sold on climate change.
That's
And,
fair. That's valid.
but also I'm not a scientist either.
Mm.
So I'll also give you that, but I'm not completely sold. Like that was the first thing that I think of is oh, well, it's either science or you're a dumbass.
Mm.
And when it comes to the climate change thing, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I think there's definitely some things we could be doing, but specifically, all right, let's look at the wildfires out there.
Mm-hmm.
I know specifically, or at least from what I've read or videos I've seen, there was certain counties and cities that didn't have burn bans out there where they were letting people just have
Mm-hmm.
open fires. In my where I live, in my city, you can't have a fire. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Like in the country parts,
Mm-hmm.
when you get outside of city limits, you can have a fire, but like you're not allowed to just burn trash,
Yeah.
at my apartment complex. And I mean, I could totally be wrong, but just from what I've read from Twitter and YouTube videos and stuff, apparently some counties and cities didn't have like those ordinances where it was like, hey guys, you're not allowed to have open fires here, and that spread fires.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that climate change or was that a law that they should have passed?
That's ineptitude. That
Do you know?
climate change in the sense of like how that works is right now there is a layer that protects us from the sun and its heat rays. Is that it's the ozone layer. And
Mm.
that way that works is that we produce our amounts of heat. Heat comes to us and it bounces back, but it stays trapped in. That's how we keep our heat. But at the same time, we also don't take in all the heat that the sun's producing. Because keep in mind, we are pretty freaking close to the sun. Like, we're very freaking close to
Yeah,
the sun.
third
And
planet.
compared to all the other fucking planets, we're pretty fucking close. So the sun is hot. As a lot of people are aware, it is very fucking hot. And the only thing that's really protecting us is that thin little layer. I mean, it's not
Right.
thin, it's pretty thick.
Yeah.
There is a hole in that motherfucker. There shouldn't be one.
Yeah.
That's not supposed to be there. And that's not like a disputable. There's a hole. Scientists
Yeah,
have literally
absolutely.
shown graphs of there
Cameras,
being a
all
tear
that.
in there.
Yeah.
And that's because we have been producing a lot of like harmful pollutants and gases that have literally like collected, because the way that it works is that a lot of pollution forms and collects itself right underneath the layer, because that's the only way that it can go further up, because it doesn't go into space. It gets trapped by that little layer that keeps in heat and other forms of gases and stuff like that. But it got so bad and it got so much pollutants that it burst through that layer, allowing the heat from the sun to come in. And the problem with that is we are, what is it, 70% water is on the planet. The earth is 70% water,
Right.
most of it being in the forms of the ice caps. And the problem with that being, if you introduce a lot more heat in a goddamn earth and environment biome that is made of water, you could see from like kindergarten science that water and heat tend to have scientific reactions. You melt ice caps, the water level rises. You saw that in like Italy, straight up parts of Italy that are on the water, beautiful, beautiful parts in like Venice and stuff like that, are sinking, into the ocean because the water levels are rising up higher. We're gonna have a whole ass Atlantis too. And if not that, then you have other changes in climates where if heat hits water, it evaporates, and then you have places that are flooding and have tsunamis because the water levels are rising, but they're also evaporating, which creates like tornadoes and storms, just like literally thousands of things on this earth biome that have been there for decades have been thrown a hinder because of humans. Because mind you, when we didn't exist, we didn't have the same problems. We had dinosaurs and animals living and coexisting. There wasn't the problems that we have now. And the debate that is it our fault? It is our fault. Because mind you, and I will give this to people who have their doubts, this eventually kind of would have happened already. I mean, the main participants of the ozone being broken is methane gas, which is created by cows.
Absolutely, yeah. That's what I was about to ask you about.
I know, and that's the problem. Is to think as like, well, I mean, these benefactors aren't necessarily just humans; they're also animals, and they were here before us. So does that mean that eventually they would have done the same thing? But the truth is, no. because the meat industry itself is large. Do you know how much
Mm-hmm.
America induces in the meat
Factories.
industry?
Yeah.
You're in Tennessee,
Yeah.
man. You go probably through those farm stretches,
Mm-hmm.
you'll see rows and rows of like pastures filled to the brim,
Smokestacks. Yeah.
everything. And that's
Mm-hmm.
because it's money. They gain money from that, and they'll put the bottom dollar before the environmental risk is that if you
Yeah.
breed cows at the rate that you're doing in order to fund these meat factories, you're creating cows, and that's not the natural order. These cows that shouldn't have even existed are only existing to feed us, literally feed us, and they wouldn't have existed if humans had never existed. The point is, we did this. These are things that we did, and the problem is,
Yeah.
I don't know if we can really fix
Fix
it
it.
anymore.
Yeah.
I think we're at a point where there is no return, and that's slightly depressing.
All right. So specifically, all right, in modern politics, the Green New Deal,
Hmm.
I am not a fan of that
I
personally.
haven't even seen it, man. I don't even know what it
So,
entails.
all right. I mean, it's basically a plan to
Hmm.
combat climate change, but okay, how are they going to do that? They're trying to patch it with money, okay? With
Hmm.
a whole lot of money that we obviously don't have. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the first red flag. Like, I'm talking like $1 trillion, like a lot of money, bro. And that's the first red flag for me. And the second one is like you were saying about just one of the little tiny details is about the methane in the cows. They literally want to just exterminate cows, just make them go extinct. I mean, is that practical? You know what I'm saying? Is that
Not really, but I think the bigger problem is, how does one do it? How does one fix it? And the thing is, it's not a simple answer.
no
And the problem is, you sent the wrong people to do it. You sent politicians, you sent investors, you sent all these people with ties to other
special
businesses.
interests? Yeah.
It is hard to get an unbiased answer, and I feel like you asked the wrong people. The right people would be the people with the answers to answer all these questions. The
Maybe
same
real
people,
scientists?
real scientists, people who know what
Yeah.
the earth actually needs. And that's why I told you, I don't know if we can do it, because if you ask a scientist, they're like, bro, there's nothing we can do, bro.
But what do you
Literally, we've gone so far. Any time right now that we do is adding just a few more years to the clock until all of this just goes tits up.
Oh, and
It's
that's
hard. It's
it,
hard because there's no easy answer. Any
it
answer you get is gonna be the bitter, bitter little cough syrup that you're gonna have to swallow. And it's like, this is not gonna be easy.
it's not, and it's kind of a secret or kind of like a secret us humans in the 21st
Hmm.
century always kind of just we're kind of just like looking around like, we potentially only have like 50 years of breathable oxygen left, right?
Yep.
Like
I told you and ironically, at the very beginning of this, the cruelest thing that an entity could have ever given us is try to
It's-
make finite creatures that want to be infinite.
right. I mean, but also with that why I'm not completely sold on the idea of climate change, humans are completely responsible for this, is I feel like, I mean, dude, the earth it's Mother Earth. It's constantly repairing itself, and it's constantly like going through phases. Eventually,
Hmm.
bro, this whole where you're sitting right there was an ice cap.
Hmm.
There was the ice age at one point, or allegedly, so they say.
Oh, no. When we die, the Earth is gonna be fine. Like, the thing is, when we all get killed off by global warming, the
Human
Earth will
race.
still keep
Yeah.
going, and animals will still thrive. Like, stuff will be here after us.
Yeah.
Like, we'll be fine. The only thing that when we say it's our fault is that when we die, when we're the contributors of thousands of species going extinct, that's our fault. The
Right,
fact
right.
that this was going to happen eventually is true. We eventually would have gotten to the point where maybe like something would have like erased a lot of life planets. But the problem is, we probably, like, if we had done things differently, we might have had more time to prepare for this. But the problem is, we kept like kind of hitting the snooze button and be like, oh, we'll deal with that later. We'll
Right,
deal with
right,
that
right.
later. And it got so bad that now we don't have any time to prepare for that. It's too late.
I would just say the biggest thing where we definitely hit the snooze button or cut with was the car industry, the automobile industry. I mean, dude, I mean, you talked about Nikola Tesla. I mean, dude, there's so
That boy was an alien. No, like literally in the documents that they
I need
released,
to watch. I
page
need to check
5
that out.
at the very end, it says his parents were extraterrestrials. The fucking government. The government.
They were
Not
like, yeah,
some crazy dude. The government released documents stating that Nikola Tesla was a goddamn alien.
they were like, yeah, we got to knock this guy off. Yeah,
I don't understand. Honestly, why did that come? I haven't read them myself. Literally, these are all just things of people who have read it and they reviewed it.
right.
I need to read it myself because, like, if they're just dropping these bombs on me, I feel like I should be like reading it.
Because they don't want you to read it. They don't want you to. You know, they don't want you to find those papers.
But why release them then? Why release them?
Because people, I feel like I feel
Well,
like
I feel like that Area 51 stunt really kind of threw them off a bit. They're like, okay, they're getting a little antsy. Let's give them something.
yeah. Let's
But at
release
the same time, it's also like, bro, I never trust the government, and that's something that's funny. The blue and the reds can obviously agree on this. They don't trust the government, and that's what's so silly. It's like, bro, y'all preach small government, and then like suck the teat when someone says, "Hey, government's about to tell you what to do," and they're like, "Fuck yeah!" As long as it's my government, I'm like, bro, you're literally preaching against what you want. But what we can both agree is the
Yeah.
government lies. The government
Absolutely,
lies
man.
in the sense that if they release these documents, I can't even accept the whole validity of it. Like if some crackhead on the middle of the street told me, bro, freaking Nikola Tesla is an alien, I can blow that off as that's a crackhead. But if the
okay,
government
man.
is telling me, that's extra sus, bro. That's extra sus.
Well, shit, Ruben. You got anything else you want to say to me? Is there any questions you want to ask me, bro? Any topics that you wanted to bring up, talk about before we get off here, bro? We're like an hour and a half, man.
I mean, not really, man.
It was
I've
a
had like a
pleasure.
big day. I'm ready to just sort of like clock out. I gotta go to work tomorrow.
Okay.
But honestly, I love this. This was fun.
Yeah,
I'm
bro.
glad that we did this blind because it just really
I
opened
know.
up a lot of like you don't have any expectations of
Mhm.
going in. I'm so stoked that I got episode 69. I feel like that's
69.
perfect.
Hell yeah, man.
I like this. This is fun. I've only done like one podcast, which is I told you the guy before me.
Okay.
He was able to pop that cherry, but I love these. These are fun.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. And dude, I really look. You were freaking out about having to reschedule and cancel. Not. I just wanted to say this. Not a fucking problem at all, bro. It is okay. I get it. We're in different time zones.
Yep.
We don't even know each other. It's okay, bro. Like seriously. Thank you. Trust me. I appreciate you way more than you could ever understand for coming forward, bro. It's hard for me to find guests, man. It really is, man. People, especially in my which I don't know what Nate has told you about where we come from, but our area is just so whack, bro. Everybody here is just whack as fuck. But yeah, man, I really appreciate you giving me your time. It was nice to meet you, bro, and I'd love to have you back on here, bro. You know, we'll keep in touch. Definitely go check out some other episodes, man. There's 68 other ones.
Yep. Definitely. I'm gonna go check them out much as I can.
Yeah, man, they're long. I mean, pop them in. They're on Apple and Spotify. You use either one of those?
Spotify.
Spotify, yeah, man. Boom. So if you go to my website, tap that Spotify logo, it'll take you right there, man. Pop them in your car. But yeah, bro. I'm gonna text Nate and see if he has any stickers still. But next time you see him, ask him for a sticker because I gave him a bunch a while ago. But if he still
I'll
has,
try to cop one.
yeah, if he has one, man, yeah, man. But Ruben, episode 69. I appreciate your time, bro. I'm gonna get this out probably tomorrow or Sunday. So, but I'll post it on my Instagram. I'll post a little clip. Yeah, bro. I appreciate it. You have a great rest of your night, bro.
You too, man. I'm gonna go help my girlfriend get cool dyed hair.
Hell yeah, dude.
Let me plug her Twitch real quick.
Oh, absolutely, bro.
Bro.
Plug it here and then send me the link and I'll put it on my blog post too.
Thank you. Blade Bunny. The L is a 1.
Cool.
If you really ever just want to send love my way, send love that way.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Cool. Yeah, bro. Go ahead and just DM me the link to that too, bro. Whatever else you want me to plug, go to my the link in my bio and tap one of the podcast articles, and it'll kind of give you like a template of, you know, whatever you want, bro. Free promo. I'm just trying to. I enjoy doing these things. So
Good. No, and I was
Yeah.
literally gonna say that before, but we got
Mhm.
stuck. The whole thing about reality and stuff. The best thing you could do to facilitate your life in reality is do the things you enjoy, and that's the
Absolutely.
best way you could spend your reality,
Mm-hmm.
real or fake. It's doing the things you love.
Exactly. Whatever it makes me feel good inside, and we're at a point in technology in 2020 where I can use a computer and this microphone, and I can talk to someone 2,000 miles away, and it's
Straight
you know.
up.
But yeah, bro, have a great rest of your night, bro. I really appreciate your time. Episode 69.
All right. Have a good one.
You too, man.